Hi, and welcome to Story Time with Pastor Jacob, and I am Pastor Jacob, and I'm joined again this morning by Noelle, and she has got a little friend with her. Who's that? Turtle. Special nighttime turtle. Look, he's got lights on him. Isn't that cool? Today, we are going to read another story from the Jesus Storybook Bible, and today's story starts on page 192, and it's called The King of All Kings, the story of the three wise men from Matthew chapter 2. So we're going to keep going on with the story about Jesus being born. Ready? All right. And this is one of Noelle's favorite stories, isn't it? There's a page on here. We'll show you her favorite page. All right, here we go. Far away in the east, three clever men saw the same star. You guys remember the star from last week? Remember the shepherds followed the star? The star that God had put in the sky when Jesus was born. They knew it was a sign. A baby king had been born. These are new people seeing the star. They had been waiting for this star. They knew it would come. "He's here," they shouted. "He's here." And I'm sure if you had been there, you would have heard them laughing and dancing and singing until the sun came up. At dawn, they packed up their camels and they wrapped up gifts for the baby. They brought their most precious treasures of all: frankincense, gold, and myrrh. Special, sparkly, lovely smelling, gleaming things, just right for a king. All of our pages are ripped up a little bit from this story because we read it a lot, right? Yeah. The three wise men, and actually if you met them, you'd have thought they were kings because they were so rich and clever and important looking, set off. They rode their camels across endless deserts, up steep, steep mountains, down into deep valleys, through raging rivers, over grassy plains, night and day, day and night, for hours that turned into days, that turned into weeks, that turned into months and months, until at last they reached. Where do you think they're going to go? Where are they going to get to? You know, don't you? Here's the next page. This is Noelle's favorite page. Until they reached Jerusalem. Jerusalem was by far the most important city for miles around, and anyone can tell you that's where a palace would be. And kings are born in palaces. So that's where they went, but they were in for a surprise. They went to see King Herod. Surely he'd know where this baby was. But he didn't. In fact, he didn't like the sound of a new king. It made him cross. That means angry. He didn't want anyone to be king except for him. But Herod's advisors told the three wise men what was written in their books, that God had said about the baby king. Go to Bethlehem. That's where you'll find him. Suddenly, the star they had seen in the east started moving again, moving away from them. So the three wise men, they followed the star out of the big city, along the road into a little town of Bethlehem. They followed the star through the streets of Bethlehem, out of the nice part of town and through the not so nice part of town, into the really not nice part of town, down a little dirt track until it stopped right over a little house. But wait, this wasn't a palace? Then there weren't any guards or servants or flags or red carpets or trumpets or anything. Did they get it wrong, or was this what God meant? Town and the camels and the stars. Yeah, you'll go to the next page. Next page. And this is the last page. Sure enough, in that little house there, sitting on his mother's knee, they found him, the baby king. The three men knelt before the little king. They took off their rich royal turbans and gleaming, he is growing, and gleaming golden crowns. They borrowed they bowed their noble heads to the ground and gave him, what did they give him? What's in their hands? What did they give him? Their treasures. Their sparkling treasures. The journey that had begun so many centuries before had led 3 wise men here to a little town, to a little house, to a little child. To the king God had promised David all those years before. But this child was a new kind of king. Though he was the Prince of Heaven, he had become poor. Though he was a mighty God, he had become a helpless baby. This king hadn't come to be the boss. He had come to be a servant. And that's great, right? Because sometimes when we think of kings, we think of people who are far away and not thinking about regular people like us, right, Noah? Mm-hmm. But Jesus is a special kind of king, right? He's a king that cares about us. He's a king that became a little baby just like all of us. We were all little babies once before, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy? And Jesus came to be with us. He came and became a person just like us so that he could care for us and so that he could be with us. Isn't that great? And ultimately give himself so that we could have life. Cool? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us, and we will see you again next week. Bye.